Welcome to Outside the Fame. I'm Jayme Parker, and we traveled cross-country nearly 3,000 miles from Boston to Walla Walla, Washington. We are surrounded by 4 beautiful vineyards, all part of the Doubleback winery. They total 154 acres, and they are owned by one of the greatest players ever to wear a Patriots uniform, Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe spent 9 seasons as a New England Patriot. The first overall draft pick in 1993, Bledsoe was a big part of those Patriots 90s teams who brought the franchise back to relevance. Today, he is making his mark in a different way by making wine. I recently caught up with Drew at his Doubleback winery to discuss his latest passion. Drew, the first thing I want to start off is the history of winemaking, the whens, the hows, and the whys.
Yeah, well, you know, we got into wine, as you would probably guess, we started drinking wine. But it was really fun when we were in New England, we'd have guys come over and everybody would bring a bottle of wine. And we would grab something from Walla Walla, you know, because we were going to show off our hometown. And we'd put them in paper bags and we would taste through them. And these Walla Walla wines would win. And so I was like, oh, you know what, that's cool. My little hometown is making some of the best wine in the world. And so that was sort of where the seed got planted, if you will. And then when I retired, came back home to start a business.
So what about the learning curve? As we talked about, there's no playbook when it comes to winemaking.
Yeah. You know, I think that's the thing that I enjoy the most about the business is that I feel like I'll learn forever and still maybe not know very much. But it's so multifaceted. You're a farmer first, and then you're into production, and then you're into marketing and fulfillment and customer service and you know, all of the different aspects of the business. And we're trying to be excellent at every aspect of the business, from the ground through the bottle. So it's an interesting challenge. There's always a puzzle to solve.
It seems like you really do enjoy the hands-on part of it, like you're getting involved in every aspect of it.
As much as I'm qualified to. You know, I know just enough to be dangerous, and so I'm around, but I have really great people that keep me from screwing things up.
And why Walla Walla?
2 reasons, really. First and foremost, you know, some of the best wine grapes in the entire world are being grown in this valley. And there's some really specific reasons for that. You know, this is not just another wine region. We really feel like, and I think we've clearly established, and when I say we, that's the entire valley. That's not just Doubleback, that this is an amazing wine grape growing region. And so, look, I'm always going to be competitive, and we want to be, you know, world-class wine. But then second, you know, it's my hometown. You know, I grew up here. There's so many people in this town that helped raise me and my friends, and to come back and have this attachment with my hometown has been really fun.
All right, how about the biggest surprise so far?
You know, the biggest surprise, I think, is just how long things take. You know, in my previous life, I knew instantly if I'd made a good decision or a bad decision, you know, based on my guy caught the ball, it's a good decision. Their guy caught it as a bad decision, right? But now a lot of times, I mean, it'll be a decade before you really know the full implications of a decision that you make. And so that's a little bit frustrating, but it's also kind of cool. I mean, we live in a world of immediate gratification, and you know, everything's instant. And in this business, you've got to be extremely patient.
I liked how you paralleled it with football a little bit. Has there been any transition kind of made it easier for you as far as winemaking goes?
You know, one of the things that's been super interesting is how many parallels there are from football to business. You know, as a quarterback, I was so reliant on my team. If my team was really great around me, you know, I could be okay. You know, if the team wasn't very good, you know, I was going to struggle. And we've got an amazing team here. You know, in football, you spend your whole life planning, all off season and all game week and all that. You spend your whole life planning. And in wine, you know, we're always planning, and then it comes time to execute your plan, and invariably something's thrown at you that you don't see coming.
You talked about being surrounded by a really good team. Ironically, your primary winemaker is named Josh McDaniels, which is just too funny and too coincidental.
It's really funny. Poor Josh, my winemaker, last year when the offensive coordinator had the thing with the Colts where he took the job and then quit, all of a sudden my winemaker started getting all these incredibly hateful, you know, tweets from people like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, I mean, like death threats, and he was like, no, man, I'm just a winemaker. I'm just a winemaker. You don't have to kill me.
But he obviously brought him aboard because of his experience and his knowledge of wine.
Yeah. Josh has been fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, my our original winemaker when we started was a childhood friend of mine who became this rock star in the wine world, Chris Figgins, and Josh, the winemaker Josh, was his protege. And he started working in the wine industry when he was 15 years old, and even though he's still just a kid when he's 30. But he's really super talented as a winemaker, and is continuing to take us to better and higher places.
Yeah, talk about the success that the wine has gotten so far. You're in Wine Spectator's Top 100.
Yeah, I tell people we're an 11-year overnight success. Yeah, but it is gratifying because, you know, we hoped when we started that these estate vineyards that we have would become the drivers in the wine, and now the wine is actually this year and last year entirely estate grown. So we own all of our own fruit, and the critics have been good to us, and we have a lot of fans out there and some loyal customers that come back every year, and we treat them like family and try to make sure that they know how important they are to us.
Stay with us on Outside the Fame as Drew gives us an up-close look at what makes Walla Walla a hidden gem for winemaking. Outside the Fame is presented by Scholar Athletes, supporting academic achievement through athletics.
I've been involved in the zone for the past 2 years, and it's been a great experience. It's just basically another opportunity to be successful at your school. At 3 o'clock, I want to go straight home. When I go home, I just want to sleep, either play video games or chill with my friends, basically. The zone gives me an opportunity for at least an hour in there, or maybe 2 hours before school to get your work done and be done with it basically by the deadline. The staff, they always come around, tell people come in the zone, do your work. It's always good to have someone on your back to push you whenever you're down, or someone to talk to whenever it's needed.
It's a cool little place and still relatively undiscovered, which is interesting.
Now, there is a lot left. Will you keep expanding, do you think? You don't have to be in Walla Walla long to see the beauty of the land. For Drew Bledsoe and Doubleback Winery, what started on one small vineyard 10 years ago has grown into a booming business. Drew is involved in all aspects of the business, including naming the vineyards. All right, Drew, now we're out here in one of your 4 vineyards.
Right.
Just talk about the different vineyards you have, the different names and the significance of them.
Yeah, well, this is McQueen Vineyard. This is our flagship. This is the backbone of Doubleback Cabernet. We're really proud of this vineyard. With these vines behind us, we actually got out here with the kids a little bit over 10 years ago now, which seems crazy, and planted these vines. So and at that point, we were really hopeful that this would become the backbone of our wine, and it really has been. It's been a spectacular vineyard for us. We have Bob Healy Vineyard that's only about a mile away from here, a little bit lower. The thing that's so interesting, though, with the 4 vineyards, and really 3 of them producing right now, is they're really close to each other, and the characteristics we get from the fruit from the 3 different vineyards is really unique.
So just talk about the significance. McQueen is your middle name.
McQueen's my middle name. Old family name, goes way back. Bob Healy Vineyard, named for my father-in-law, one of my favorite people in the entire world. Unfortunately, he passed away a number of years ago, but we had a good-natured, fun debate about wine. He thought wine was all marketing, and there was no difference between a $4 bottle of wine and a $100 bottle of wine. And of course, I feel feel very different than that. But I got the last laugh because now I've got a fancy, expensive vineyard with his name on it, so I get the last laugh. And then Lafleur, that's a vineyard we just recently acquired, and we kept the name because it's got some significance in the valley. And then Flying Bee Vineyard, that's named after my grandfather's cattle ranch. He started a cattle ranch when he came back from World War II, and that's where my dad grew up. So we decided to keep that Flying Bee name, and and put it on a vineyard.
Oh, so it's nice that they all have such significance. Now,
Yeah.
now each of them have completely different characteristics, like soil and what, so just talk about
Yeah,
how
yeah.
they're
So
different.
temperature, soil, aspect to the sun. Where we are right here, this is all wind-blown lush that was blown in here, thousands of years ago over the top of fractured basalt.
That's probably enough for my geology lesson for today. Now let's check out those grapes. How many workers do you have all together?
The crews that come in and harvest for us, they work for a lot of different vineyards, so we just contract with them.
You're looking at these grapes, tell me what you're looking for.
If you look at the seeds, once the seeds are all the way brown, then you're ready. So this might have just a little bit longer to go, but we're getting really close. It's an interesting blend of science and art when it comes to this, because you can measure your pH, you can measure your sugars, but ultimately you also have to take flavor into account, and that's where I really rely on Josh, because he has the lifetime of experience to know what he's tasting in the vineyard and what that's going to turn into ultimately in the bottle.
Now with that, we had you put your farmer's hat on. What about your meteorologist? Because you were telling me that the rain here is so different from like 4 miles down the road.
Yeah, one thing that's really interesting in this valley is it's a 20-mile little bathtub, if you will, but every mile you get closer to the mountains, you pick up an inch of rainfall per year. And so you get really different characteristics as you move across the valley. But we're really blessed here. We're far enough inland from the Pacific Ocean. We get very, very consistent weather year in and year out.
We could have spent all afternoon out in the vineyard discussing the many hats that Drew wears, but what about Drew Bledsoe, the family man? I want to talk about your team at home, father of 4. Just talk about the family dynamic.
It's been the most gratifying, rewarding thing, in my life. Obviously, watching these kids grow up, and amazing how fast it goes. I got 2 in college now, and 1 graduating from high school this year, and pretty soon my wife and I are going to be empty nesters, and then I don't know what are we going to do? But no, it's been super fun, and everybody's been successful, and my wife and I get sad all the time, but the alternative would be for them to still be living at home, and that'd be even more sad.
Yeah, there'd be more wine drinking.
Yeah. Right.
But so just talk about, I know that you do some coaching of your sons, kind of following in your footsteps. How gratifying is that?
Coaching the boys has been super fun. My dad was a high school football coach for 30-something years, and I remember growing up in that environment, and now that I've been coaching high school football, I understand why he did it all those years. I mean, just being around the boys, first of all, it keeps you young, or at least keeps you thinking you're young, but then also having the opportunity to coach my sons and be around them in that environment has been really, really fun.
So just tell us the names and the ages of them.
Stu turned 21 today.
Happy birthday, Stu.
Yeah, happy birthday, Stu. Stu turned 21 today. John's 19. He's up at Washington State playing ball. Henry is 18. He's a senior, and Healy is 15. She's a sophomore.
Wow,
Yeah.
Only teenagers and a 21-year-old.
Yeah. We stacked them up pretty quick, but it's been a lot of fun.
All right, Drew, so now we're going to have you take us through this beautiful facility, and then we're going to have you show me where that little grape goes from a little grape to a beautiful, exquisite wine.
Fun.
Maybe we'll get some tastings in there, too, I hope.
That's the most important part. We got to get some tasting done.
I've been involved in the zone for the past 2 years. It's been a great experience. It's just basically another opportunity to be successful at your school. At 3 o'clock, I want to go straight home. When I go home, I just want to sleep, either play video games or chill with my friends, basically. The zone gives me an opportunity for at least an hour in there, or maybe 2 hours before school to get your work done and be done with it basically by the deadline. The staff, they always come around, tell people come in the zone, do your work. It's always good to have someone on your back to push you whenever you're down, or someone to talk to whenever it's needed.
As the truck arrives at Doubleback Winery with today's harvest, former quarterback Drew Bledsoe took some time to show us around and talk about the process of turning grapes into wine.
We bring fruit in. It goes on the sorting table where we get rid of all the what's called mog, everything that's not grapes,
Okay,
matter other than grapes,
and-
and flies and you know, lots of you know, nasty things, and then it goes through destemmer, pulls all the stems off, and then the berries themselves with the juice go into the tanks.
How long do they stay in there?
You know,
Impress us with your wine
yeah,
knowledge.
right. You know, anywhere from a week to sometimes 3 and even in 4 weeks, and then some will stay in there, you know, much longer than that. The grapes all go in with the skins and everything into the fermentation tanks, become wine, and then once that process is done, you want to get all of the wine. So what we'll do is it'll go into the press, and a lot of the juice just naturally free flows, and that's generally your very best stuff. And so we'll go in there, and it's the free flow juice, you know, that comes out first, and then we have a very gentle process in the press to squeeze the grapes and push more juice.
All right, I'm here now with Josh McDaniels. I know the name, we'll get past that. The general manager and winemaker for Doubleback Wine. So we are standing here in front of the fermented grapes, right?
Yeah, you know, this is a Petit Verdot, which is a varietal off of our estate vineyard. So still fermenting, it's about maybe 10% alcohol right now. And then all we do is, you know, 2 or 3 times a day, we'll do these things called punch downs. So as the cap rises up, all the grapes come up, and we just punch those grape skins back into the juice.
Oh, wow.
So you can start to see the color.
Okay,
and,
tell me if I'm doing it right.
yeah, exactly. Get in there.
Oh
You gotta
my
get
God, this
dirty.
thing is heavy.
Yeah, exactly. So you're doing a good job.
No, I'm not. I can't lift it out of the grapes.
But you can start to see some of the bubbles.
Oh, I do
come
see. You see
up.
some of the color coming
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
great.
Yeah, of course.
Now I gotta wash my hands again. How has your palate grown over these years being involved in it?
Well, I would like to tell you I've become more sophisticated.
Well, say it.
But I think what's happened over time is that I've started to pursue wines that have more balance and elegance rather than the obvious wines I liked when I was younger. You know, when you first get into wine, you want just these massive wines that are really obvious. And as I've gotten older, I've started to pursue wines that have balance and elegance, but which coincidentally our valley does very well. You know, these wines do have some restraint and really great balance, and so they're wines that I actually really like, which is nice. You know, it's nice to make a product that you really believe in and something that you really truly enjoy yourself.
It's also good that you can be successful here in the town that you grew up in Walla Walla. But is that what signifies the name Doubleback? Because, you know, when you look at the definition.
Yeah. We wanted the story to be about the small town kid that went off and had a career and then came back home and doubled back to home. And that's what we wanted the story to be about. We didn't want it to be a story, dumb jock makes money and decides to throw it away in the wine business. You know,
That would not be a good name.
No, it would not be, right? And so we wanted it to be really an authentic thing, and hopefully it is.
Coming up on Outside the Fame, we talk with Drew about his Patriots days, and I finally get a taste of that wine. Scholar Athletes, founded by Suffolk Construction Chairman and CEO John Fish, partners with public high schools to help close the opportunity gap for thousands of students in grades 9 through 12 across the Commonwealth. Scholar Athlete programs support success in school, as well as success in life. Today we introduced Asaya Thornton from Boston as this month's Scholar Athlete.
When I go into the zone, I'm able to be myself. I've opened up, I've expanded on my knowledge of school, classes, leadership roles. They've helped me become me. This journey was long, and having someone to lean on just inspired me to be able to say, wow, I have the ability to do more. My dream for college is just to get the experience. I do want to play sports. I still want to work out. I still want to get in the gym, shoot around sometimes, but I think I'm gonna go towards the path of my music. Even though I stand alone, best believe I'm still standing. The norms need to change. I'm not asking, I'm demanding. Scholar Athletes, there's no words that can explain how thankful I am. So I feel like my hugs explain it more.
It's been 12 years since Drew Bledsoe last played in an NFL game. Besides his New England years, he spent 2 seasons in Buffalo before ending his career with the Dallas Cowboys. But it was his first NFL team that he remembers the most.
The Patriots, do you still keep tabs on them? What's going on?
Of course, I mean, it's kind of interesting. The only people that are there now from when I was there are Kraft, Belichick, and Brady. But yeah, I still keep in touch with Mr. Kraft and his family, and get back for 1 or 2 games a year. Keep in touch with Tommy a little bit. Obviously, been amazing to see the level of success that he's had, and the thing I tell him all the time, though, just his success has been great, but the way that he has handled all of it is really amazing. He's a family guy. He's still the same guy that he was, when he came in, with the exception of this crazy diet. Come on, dude.
Oh.
Seriously. I mean, drink some wine. Have a strawberry. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool to watch him and the way that he's handled all of it, and I just cherish my relationship with Mr. Kraft, to get to spend some time with him a couple times a year.
You talked about going back and forth to Boston a couple of times. One of the things was you were inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame, and also an honorary captain last year for the team. Just talk about how those experiences and what they meant to you.
When I went back for the Hall of Fame induction, that was really, really cool. It was neat for me, but it was nice closure for my family. The way that the fans embraced me, it was really gratifying for me and also for my family, which was that was really cool. And then gone back and been honorary captain a couple times, and like I say, Mr. Kraft has been such a wonderful friend and mentor, all the way through, and so for him to invite me back every year to spend some time with him is really, really fun.
Yeah, just expand on the fans a little bit. I mean, what they mean to you, because those New England fans, you come back, there's some people who come back and they get booed, but they still absolutely adore you, which is great.
Well, I was really proud, and always will be, of those teams that I was a part of, because we really changed the culture. The Patriots had not been very good, and by the time we left, we were pretty relevant. And then obviously they've gone on to be the best franchise in all of sports. But that cultural change is really hard, and we were a part of that.
All right, Drew, so now we have moved down to the basement, into the depths of where the barrels are located. I don't know if that's the technical name for this room, but
down here in the barrel cellar.
Barrel
cellar.
cellar.
After the fruit comes in, it's fermented, then it's pressed off, and then we can gravity flow it down here, so we don't have to be, wine. You don't like to manipulate wine. You don't like to handle it too much. You want it to be, handled very softly. So we can gravity flow down here into barrels where it ages for a couple years before it's finally ready for prime time.
Again, is that depending on the type of wine it is? Like each wine ages in these barrels for a certain amount of time?
That's correct, yeah. So Doubleback, our flagship, will be in mostly new French oak barrels for almost 2 years. Now our family wine and Flying Bee, it's a shorter amount of time. Doesn't spend as much time, and a lot of times we'll go into barrels that we've already used once.
And is it kind of like picking one of your children? What's your favorite? That's hard to do.
Oh no, it's not quite like that. The Cabernet, our Doubleback Cabernet is what I love. That's the passion. That's our mission in life. We're not trying to be the biggest winery in the world. We don't have aspirations to be a massive business. We just want to continue to be really good at what we're doing.
All right, Drew, I didn't travel 3,000 miles for nothing. Let's go taste the wine.
The important part. Let's go taste some wine.
That's right.
I feel like this is a special occasion, right? You broke out the good stuff for me.
100% a special occasion, Jayme. You traveled all the way out to see us from Boston. It's definitely a special occasion.
Well, now that we've had a fantastic day here at the Doubleback Vineyard, I wanted to say, if you at home would like to get your own delicious bottle, because this one's mine, of Doubleback wine, all you have to do is go on to doubleback.com or BledsoeFamilyWinery.com, and you can get your own beautiful, delicious tasting bottle of Cabernet.
You are hired.
Huh?
You are hired. It's hard to make it spiral.
Yeah, actually, you should teach me how to throw a spiral. I don't know how to do that. That would have been a nice lesson.
Some people tell you I don't know how to either. So.
Well, you know how to make wine now.
Jayme, enough work for today. Let's go drink some wine.
Outside the Fame is presented by Scholar Athletes, supporting academic achievement through athletics.